Mike Fayona of Rose Hill Sourdough and Chef Jason demonstrate our go-to dough recipe. It's super simple and gives great results every time. This dough holds the secrets to a no-knead technique. Watch out for bonus tips on balling your dough too. It's the secret to round pizza.
So warm water we're going to start with, yep. So we're going to do our classic pizza dough. This is actually going to be ready in 4 hours. So some people say, oh, doesn't dough take a long time to make? Yeah, it can. I make dough sometimes, I let it go for 72 hours.
Right, like those cold ferments or long ferment.
Exactly,
it,
right? I think people get overwhelmed when people start talking about fermentation and all this stuff. Yeah, you can jump into the science if you want.
Sure.
I love that part of it. But for some people, they just want to be able to make dough really quick with their family, and they get overwhelmed by all the math and all the science. So we're going to strip that all away. We're just going to make easiest pizza you can make, ready in like 3 or 4 hours, and be good to go. Cool.
And I think this is the gateway to better pizza dough, because I think 100%. Once you realize like how easy this is, now all of a sudden you're like, wait, what's this hydration, or what's this, or what's that? So I love it.
All I did was add 300 grams of warm water, and to that I'm just going to add a little bit of salt. So this is 10 grams of salt, just like that. Cool, and on my little handy dandy Ooni scale here, I'm gonna measure out 7 grams of active dry yeast. So we're using active dry yeast in this recipe just because we're gonna make this really quickly. But there's all other types of stuff you can use. You can use fresh yeast, which is really popular in Naples. I prefer sourdough. There's all kinds of stuff you can do, but the easiest, most quickest way to make dough is just use active dry yeast.
And it's already coming alive.
There you go. So I'm just gonna give that a little bit of a whirl just to dissolve that salt and active dry yeast just a little bit. And then we're gonna be using some flour. So this flour is 00 flour, and it gets the name because it's really, really finely milled, really delicate flour. But again, you don't need 00 flour if your grocery store doesn't have it. Grab some bread flour, grab some all-purpose flour. That's how I started making pizza dough, is all-purpose flour. Cool, so we're just gonna dump in 500 grams of my 00 flour. All right, right on, cool. And then I'm just gonna mix, without a mixer. Nope.
Without the mixer.
Without the mixer, without the mixer.
Scraper.
With the scraper, with a little spatula, whatever you wanna call it. So this is super easy. This is something that you can do, say you wanna have pizza night on a Friday night, Friday morning, whip this up together and just let it sit out. I like to do it with just the spatula here without a mixer because I think it's really quick, and I like to get kind of my hands on the dough.
Could I double this batch and make extra pizza dough and freeze it? So literally I could make pizza dough once but use it to cook 2 or 3 times.
Yep, absolutely. I've got a friend who just had twins. She makes my pizza recipe all the time, and that's exactly what she does. She whips the dough together, she'll make a double or a triple batch, she'll make the pizza she wants to make, and then absolutely she'll ball up the pizza dough, and then she'll chuck those in little baggies and throw them in the freezer.
So this is like seriously like 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, it's not that much time.
And we mixed it, it's mixed.
Yeah, it's mixed. So literally I'm just gonna cover this with and it's not gonna look like really dough right now. It's just kind of, it's kind of just a mixture. That's fine. We're gonna let science and nature do its thing. I'm gonna cover that up with the towel. I'm just gonna let that sit.
How long do we let that sit?
Anywhere from like 15 minutes to an hour, really. This is stuff that we mixed up about an hour ago. And what you're gonna do is you take it out of the bowl and you're just gonna kind of give it a good stretch like this. Now, there's a couple things you can do from here, because I said, remember, we're gonna let it sit for like 3 or 4 hours.
And that's gonna be the rising part, right? Or the bench proofing or whatever they call it?
So bulk, that's what we're gonna do. So I'm just gonna take that, I'm just gonna throw that on my bench, whether it's a countertop or whatever it is. If you don't have a lot of space, you can throw it back in the bowl, and we're just gonna cover that back up. And there you go, you're gonna let that sit for, again, 3 to 4 hours.
Till it's done.
Till it's done. Say you're like, you go to make this dough and you're actually making it for tomorrow because you found town the day before. Do this exact same step, just throw it into a container and toss in the fridge.
So now after 4 hours?
It's gonna look something like this.
And it smells incredible.
There you go. It's
like you can smell that yeast coming alive, like doing exactly what we want it to do. And now this is the hard part, right? Super hard, because you have to measure and all that.
So I'm taking my pizza dough here. Our recipe from Ooni.com makes 4 really good sized pizza doughs. So I'm basically just gonna break this up into 4 pieces. If you've got a bench scraper, you can do it with a bench scraper. Literally, you can just do it with your hands if you've got it. There you go. So half and half. So
give me one of those guys too.
Come on over here.
Myself a little flour.
So this is the balling technique here. So literally all we're just gonna do is we're just gonna, we've got a smooth side on the top and our seam side on the bottom, so we're just gonna keep that the same. We're just gonna press the dough from the top, smooth it out, and press it up into the bottom, so keeping that smooth side really smooth and making our seam on the bottom. And then we're just gonna use the edges of our hands to seal that dough up on the bottom. You can use the bench, you can do a little rolling technique, whatever you want. To get a round pizza, you got to start with a round dough ball.